We do need more politicians like Marcel Dettling here from the Swiss People Party, SVP. Listen to this. We have to look back. From which time frame does the asylum right come? It comes exactly from a time when it was difficult for Europe. When Europe had a hard time. We wanted to help our neighbors. It was about mainly taking in people from Europe.
Unterstützen. Und jetzt merken wir, es kommt einfach halb Afrika zu uns.
And now we realize half of Africa is coming to us.
Und
half of Arabia is coming to us.
Arabien kommt.
It can't be like this.
Weil wir haben zu wenig Platz. Wir können nicht alle auf.
We don't have enough space. We cannot take all of them.
Und die extrem hohen Bestände sprechen Bände.
And the extreme high numbers of migrants, says it all.
Kommt eine Kultur da rein, die sich breit macht.
It's a culture coming in, which just wants to Islamize our culture, our values.
Wo nicht da passt.
It doesn't fit here.
Wo sich Freiheiten rausnimmt.
Just take some freedoms which I don't actually have. They just take their right to do stuff which I don't actually have.
Eben auch sehr gewalttätig ist.
They are very violent.
Wo Einbruchdiebstahl begeht.
A lot of theft is going on. And major part of these people.
Grosse Stücke. Und für so Leute haben wir keinen Platz in dem kleinen Land.
For those people, we don't have space in our country. So it's not basically that we don't have space in general for migrants. No. We have space for migrants. But not for these kind of people. The entire interview with Marcel Dettling in this video, and it's all about the Border Control Initiative. They have gathered 120,000 signatures, names and addresses of people in Switzerland who says, yes, I stand behind the Border Control Initiative. They will submit the initiative to the Swiss Federal Council September 24th. Check it out. Let's have a look. This is Marcel Dettling. He's the president of the SVP. This is the Schweizerische Volkspartei, the Swiss People Party. And they are launching and submitting a border protection initiative to the Federal Council of Switzerland because they gathered together 120,000 signatures. So now they can submit the initiative to the Federal Council, because raising awareness and spreading the news and talking about things is important. To protest is important, but what we mostly have to do is to act, and to act politically. And that's what they do, because, as I told you, they have gathered 120,000 signatures, so now they can submit the Border Control Initiative. And what they demand at September the 24th, because at September 24th, the SVP, the party, will submit the initiative to the Federal Council. So it's something that will happen. So we are very excited about it, and we are very curious of the outcome. Now, the Border Protection Initiative is demanding for more strict border controls and a restricted asylum right. Now let's have a look at the interview with Marcel Dettling. So the first question they ask him is, Mr. Dettling, we are standing at the border to Germany. If it would be after you, then we would close this border. So he replies, we want to go back to controlled borders, the way we had it before the activation of the Schengen Dublin. A lot of EU states and even Germany are now restricting their border controls with success, because in Germany the asylum applications went back on 60%. In Denmark they had 2,500 asylum applications in the last year. That should be our goal as well. So they question, but then this will also harm the people who just crossed the border for work, because in Germany alone there are 66,000 who would have to wait longer in the future at our borders. Then he replies, no, with those people we have no problem. For those people who come here to work, our initiative has a simplified digital procedure. But they want to get all of these people who are illegally here and unjustified want to cross our border into our country. Fair enough, right? Fair enough. They will ask, so you have all the signatures, because to submit a initiative to the Federal Council in Switzerland, you need to have a certain amount of signatures. People give their names and addresses and signature and say, yes, I am supporting the initiative. So he says, yes, we have 120,000 signatures. We already have more than 100,000 verified. So they will submit the initiative September the 24th to the Federal Council. Now the interviewer will start teasing him because he's talking about the Minister of Justice, who is called Beat Jans. And Beat Jans, who is the Minister of Justice, one of the Federal Councils, he also has the asylum right under his department. Okay, so what the reporter now is asking, instead of submitting this initiative, you should better congratulate the SP Minister of Justice, Beat Jans. And then Marcel Dettling is asking, did I miss something? No, because the initiative we are actually submitting, or we actually created the initiative because of Beat Jans. They were making more than 20 demands in the parliament to change something in the asylum rights, to change something with the border controls, and Beat Jans ignored them all. They didn't do anything. So the reporter is doubling down. That's just what you say. Fact is, under Beat Jans as Minister of Justice, the asylum applications in this year went down 14%. Also, the illegal migration went down almost half, like almost 50%. So they ask him, like, what do you want with this initiative? So Mr. Dettling replies, at the moment, we have more than 200,000 people as asylum seekers. That's a record number. Also, the asylum criminality has risen massively. That the asylum applications are at the moment a bit lower is mainly because of the surrounding countries who have just started to increase their border controls. But we cannot depend our security of our countries from other countries around us. We have to think the long term. That's why there's a need for this initiative. So then the reporter asks, it's a bit more complicated question. Who is coming from a third-party state would have to be remigrated. That's what the initiative wants. With many EU states surrounding us, this would mean, in fact, a complete abolition of the asylum right. Mr. Dettling then replies, that's what they have promised us with the Schengen-Dublin referendum. Whoever is coming from a secure third-party state cannot submit an asylum application. But we actually, in reality, we have the opposite. The Italians or the Greeks are not taking the people back. So whoever set a foot over the Swiss border, we almost can't get them out. Because these EU states, they won't take them. And we would have to send them back to those states according to the actual law at the moment. The system is not working, and we are stuck with hundreds of thousands of asylum seekers. Then the next question. So the initiative will set a top limit of maximum 5,000 people having an asylum application. What is happening with number 5001? He answers, In the past years, around 4,000 to 6,000 individuals came in as righteous asylum seekers from countries where there's a real conflict. The top limit is orientating on this number, the yearly 4,000 to 6,000. The problem are all the other of whose asylum application was rejected, but they stayed here anyway. In the last 20 years, there were more than 100,000 people temporarily taken in without granting them asylum. And they are still here because the minister Beat Jans is always finding new excuses why we cannot remigrate them. He's always finding new excuses to keep them. And in the same time, he granted hundreds of homecoming trips. That has to change. So imagine this. These people come to our country. They have an asylum application. We deny it, but we still keep them. So they can stay, although they have no asylum. So basically they have an asylum. We just say they don't have, but they have, because they can stay. And in the same time, we grant those people that they can go back home and visit their family, or have a vacation there, spend some time at the sea, and then come back here to their asylum, which we have not granted. And all this under the leadership of Mr. Beat Jans. Then here, the next question is so obvious, man, it's ridiculous. But maybe exactly the 5,001 person, it has to fear persecution if you send them back, torture, or even death. And then he goes on, Operation Libero, which are the far left, they want to declare the initiative as invalid because apparently it's against human rights, it's against the international law. Mr. Dettling then replies, the migrants are traveling through many different safe countries before they even arrive at the Swiss border. That the asylum parasites are actually choosing their country of destiny is unacceptable, and it has to be stopped. Besides this, the human law, the international law and human rights law is also applying to the Swiss people. We also have a right to live in safety, which is a very, very important point here. I need to point this out. This is a very important thing, that a lot of politicians, especially those leftists and those far lefts, are often or all the time, they completely ignore this. Our people, we the people, we do also have a right to live in safety. Not only Mr. Mohammed from somewhere in the Middle East with a crazy, toxic, death-loving ideology in his brain, who is not compatible with our culture because he don't want to be compatible. He wants to Islamize the West. That's what they don't want to integrate, they want to separate. They want to create chaos and then install Sharia law. That's what they want. And we need to point this out. We also have a right for a safe life. So, then he goes on. Last year, in Switzerland, we have registered more than 560,000 criminal activities, and 1/4 of it was caused by migrants or people who are illegally in the country. Sexual assaults and rapes within a year have risen of 30%. We have to stop this. Then he brings the EU into the game, the reporter, and asks, well, the solution would be already there. You don't need the initiative because in the mid of 2026, the EU Asylum Pact is coming into effect with procedures at the borders and a fair delivery key. Switzerland can join in. So he then replies, the migration politics of the EU is a big disaster. The states were flooded with asylum applications, and security was massively decreased. The EU Migration Pact is only leading to that because of the so-called solidarity mechanism, we have to even take more migrants. But our communities can't take any more. For one side, it is the housing and the very high costs this will produce. And on the other side, it's the schools. They have problem with so many children from foreign cultures, which usually don't speak one single word in German. They have to fight with this already. It's too much for them. And you know, the level is also sinking of learning. The level of learning is going down on one side, but the costs are rising on the other side. That's why he says, hands off this EU Asylum Pact, which is coming into effect mid-2026. Okay, then we are switching now. What will happen in the parliament? So the reporter asks, tough attacks are about to happen. Especially, the FDP was criticizing the SVP very roughly in March this year, because they said that now here he comes. It's all about that word they use. It's their favorite weapon. That's the favorite weapon they use, which is called Fachkräftemangel. It means shortage of skilled workers. Because meanwhile, we have all learned, all the non-believers and the doubters, like I am one of them, that these people are really doctors and engineers, very skilled workforces, very, studied from universities, politicians, professors, right? So that's what they say. We have a Fachkräftemangel. We have a shortage of skilled workers in Switzerland. That's why we need migration. We need all these illegal, crazy migrants. We need those because we have a Fachkräftemangel. So now they brought this up in a media conference. The FDP is actually, it's not a leftist party. It's actually a party of the middle, actually. It's more in the middle. So, but anyway, they're still also, maybe that's why, because they are more the industrial party and for the business. And that's why maybe they say we have a Fachkräftemangel, we have a shortage, we need all these migrants to work here. So they said in a press conference, it's the Swiss People's Party's fault. Now check this out. It's the Swiss People's Party's fault and the initiative of them also, if because of the shortage of skilled workers, our old senior peoples in their retirement homes don't have anybody who is looking after them, and no one is coming to plumb the clogged toilet. That's the level of argument that they bring. That's why we need so much illegal migrants. Because without the illegal migrants, your and my grandfather and grandmother, they won't have any people to look after them in their retirement. They will be alone, and not even that. The clogged toilet, nobody will fix it. So they have to live in shit because of the Swiss People's Party wants to control the borders. It makes no sense what these people are talking. How can these people be politicians, man? How can these people be politicians? Let's see what Mr. Dettling has to answer to this. He says this was such a ridiculously staged scene of Thierry Burkhardt and company that's the party, the FDP, that we need a certain migration of skilled workers. We never said that it's not true. The Federal Council has promised us in the referendum of the free-moving persons that only 8 to 10,000 migrants would come in. But in reality, they are 80 to 100,000. And such a strong migration, our country can take it. Also, because the major part is not coming to work. That's the thing, man. Which gets me so upset. They are not even coming here to work. Which doctors are we talking about? Nobody is saying anything to restrict doctors to come into Switzerland to work. To work here, to live here, to pay taxes here. Huh? These people using these arguments is so ridiculous. It's so cringy. The toilet will be clogged and no one will be there to fix it. Imagine this. Because of you want to restrict illegal migration.